Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing Underworld, the classic Fourth Doctor story. This was sent to me by one of my subscribers and patrons, JLBWHO, which I really appreciate. And I've been able to watch it lately with my brand new region-free Blu-ray DVD player. And I've only seen Underworld once before, so it's been nice to go back and rewatch it because it's been a long time since I've seen it. So I'm going to talk about episode 4 first, because I have been reviewing these episodically, and then I'll talk about the story as a whole. Episode 4, the story really does get moving again. I found myself re-engaging with the story after episode 2 and 3 had been a bit dull, especially 2. And the bad CSO work of 3 had really drug it down, because it was far worse in episode 3 than it was in episode 2. Episode 4 I actually found really good. I liked it a lot. Once again, Tom Baker is great in this. I love when he's talking with the Oracle, which of course is the computer for the ship. And it's like, who are you to question me? Well, who do I have to be to question you? And when he's talking to it, that you're just another computer with a bout of megalomania. I love that whole speech he does. He's just on fire in it. I love how he's just not having it. And how he uses the sword to open up the thing to take the vials. I wasn't sure at first when the computer was calling for a truce and they were actually giving the people on the ship the vials. I was like, I don't remember the story ending like this with a truce. So when it turned out that it's a trick and they're bombs, I was like, yes, that makes sense. And then, of course, the doctor had to get the real, medical files or whatever it is he's getting, the DNA records, all that fun stuff. There's a lot going on in this episode, so it moves along at a pretty quick pace, which I like, whereas episodes 2 and 3 were pretty dull. This is more like episode 1 where there's a lot of stuff happening. The CSO in this one still isn't great in the caves. It's still more like episode 3 than episode 2, but it is a little better in episode 3, and it doesn't happen as much. There's not as many scenes in the caves. A lot of times they're in one of the ships, so they're actually on actual sets. They spend some time in the PX-7 ship, and then they spend some time in the ship they arrived in. And so you're not having to deal with CSO there. The model work at the end when the ship breaks free, again, is really good. The model work for Underworld is actually very good. I mean, above average for classic Doctor Who. It has some pretty dynamic for classic Doctor Who camera shots that it does with the model work that are actually quite impressive. Again, I think that is above average for the story, or above average for classic Who. The problem with this story is that it just gets a bad special effects rap because of the CSO in the caves, and that's used so extensively. And while it's actually done pretty well in episode 2, the CSO in episode 3, and when it's used in episode 4, is pretty bad, and does drag the story down a little bit. But the actual special effects involving the model work is very good, very impressive. I love the shot of the ship breaking out of the water planet's surface, and then you see that next shot of it kind of cruising like this, and you can see the kind of smoke coming off of it as it's moving. That's a really impressive shot. I made a mental note as I was watching on the screen. I'm like, I like that. That looks really good. It has another kind of static shot when it's doing this that's not as impressive, but it's fine. The shot of the planet basically blowing up is done really well. I love the CSO work on the forward screen of the ship, those segmented screens I talked about in part 1. That's really good at showing what's going on. The CSO work there, it looks really good, or rotoscoping, or whatever you call that right there. That looks really good, just like it did in episode 1. The computer, the Oracle, has an interesting voice, kind of a creepy voice. I did like that. The voice that was chosen to represent the Oracle did have this kind of haunting creep factor to it that I did like. I wanted to make a note of that. I love Tom's dialogue when he's bringing all of the trogs onto the ship, and the captain's trying to throw them back off. He's like, no, we can't handle the added weight. Get off. And Tom's like fighting him about it. And he's like, no, we have to save our people. And Tom's like, these are your people. They're right here. Look in front of you. This is your future. These are your people. I love the way Tom does that dialogue. He just really throws himself in it. And I love that. Tom is really good in this story, and Tom is a lot like the best doctors. Peter Capaldi is really good at this. They're very good at elevating an average story or even a bad story and making that story more watchable. Peter Capaldi does this with several of his that aren't necessarily good stories. He elevates them with his performance. Tom Baker is also very good at that. And he elevates, even if you just want to call the story average, he elevates it. If you think it's bad, he elevates it and makes it more watchable. You know, it's one of the reasons to me why I think, you know, Tom Baker is just the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He's the best doctor. He is. I consider Tom Baker to be the actor to which all other actors who played the Doctor are measured. I consider the Fourth Doctor to be the gold standard. He is the Doctor to which all other doctors are measured and compared to. I firmly believe that. And it's a lot of his performances, even in stories like this, which don't have the best of reputation, that prove that to me. He's just phenomenally good in this. I enjoy Leela in most of this. She doesn't really have a lot to do here in episode 4. She's just kind of there, to be honest. But she's fine. She's not utilized the best in this story as a whole, to be honest, but Louise Jameson's always good. I'm always happy to have her there. I love that when K9 blasts him free of the rubble, and the Doctor's like, "What kept you, K9?" And the K9's like, "Gratitude unnecessary, speed is essential." Because he knows that's the Fourth Doctor's basically way of saying thank you. What kept you, K9? That's how the Fourth Doctor is. A very alien Doctor who's not very open with his emotions in that way, you know, so K9 gets that's the Doctor being affectionate. I like that. Gratitude unnecessary, speed is essential. I love that. I do enjoy that a lot. But yeah, it's good. The story is fine. I enjoyed it. Again, it moves pretty quickly. I like the fact that the computer's like, wait, those are the bombs. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. I love that the Doctor was able to manipulate them into taking the bombs back. Those are the wrong ones. Oh, you can do better than that, Doctor. I'm like, I love watching the Doctor manipulate people. Not necessarily Seventh Doctor style of manipulating people, but the way like Tom Baker does it, it's so funny. Of course, I love McCoy too. He's a great Doctor. But yeah, I enjoy that. Get rid of them. There's no time. Disarm them. You made them where we can't. I enjoyed episode 4. As a whole, I think the good episodes bookend the story. I think episode 1 is really good. I think episode 4 is really good. With episodes 2 and 3 not being so good, I find the story in episode 2 is very dull. The story in episode 3 picks up a little, but still isn't that interesting. I don't really engage with episodes 2 and 3, whereas 1 and 4, I'm very much paying attention to what's going on. The special effects in episode 1, which of course is mostly model work, they're not in the caves yet, is very good, the best of the story. The CSO work in episode 2 is fine. It's like they put more effort into it to hide it with CSO and it works better. Whereas episode 3, it's just bad. Episode 3 is the weakest episode, for sure, of Underworld. The CSO work, because there's so much of it. They're in the caves a lot in episode 3, and it's just bad. It doesn't look like it was planned. It just looks like the director was like, screw it. And then episode 4 is better. The CSO work in the caves still isn't great, but they're not in the caves as much. And then there's a lot more action going on story-wise, and then you also get, again, some good model work. So I enjoyed the story overall. It just kind of plods a little in the middle. I do like the laser shots. The little green laser shots look cool, because they're not just green, but they have this kind of weird reverse polarity, you know, like a negative, oh, my eyes itching, like a negative, like looking at the negative of a photo, actually, effect in the middle of it. That looks like a very alien weapon, which I like. It doesn't look like a typical laser blast you would see in a TV show, so I can like and appreciate that. It has a very alien aspect to it, which it's a laser from an alien race. I enjoy that. I like that, so I like that effect a lot. So Underworld, overall, I like it. What do you think of it? Comment down below and let me know. Other things to do. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. My eye is itching like mad. Click the like button and the subscribe button. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers in 2023. We are on our way there. be a wonderful way to celebrate Doctor Who's 60th anniversary to hit that milestone. So if you enjoy my channel, I would appreciate you clicking that button. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button as well. I also have a Patreon. If you like what I do and would like to support what I do, there is a link to that down in the description. Also, it's driving me bonkers. I think I started sweating into it. For some reason, when I have my lights that I use for my lighting focused on me for too long, it makes me like sweat. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me to look at and review. This was sent to me by one of my subscribers, who's also one of my patrons, JLBWHO. So if there's anything you would like to send to me, my P.O. box is down there, as is a link to my Amazon wish list. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Finn Perkins, and Colin Coney. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. Most importantly, thank you for watching.